Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and this video is going to go live for December 26th. So I hope that everyone had a great Christmas with your loved ones. I did not post a video on Christmas Day. I figured that no one wants to watch my stupid face when they could be spending time with their family. So this is the weekly vintage collection market update. Not a ton of sales. It's pretty quiet out there. And that's why I didn't have a what to buy video about a week ago, because, or maybe 2 weeks ago, but it was just, there's not a lot out there. It seems like people are taking the holidays off to list stuff on eBay. And which is a little surprising, right? Usually you see more listings around the holidays as people sell off some stuff in their collection they don't want in order to pay for Christmas gifts. But that's not been the case this year. I feel like the inventory is definitely a little bit more sparse around the holidays. We're going to start off with two from eBay UK. I just couldn't find enough sales. And what's interesting is that a lot of items in the UK go for way more money than they do here in the US, and vice versa. We talk about that a lot on the channel, and I hear from you guys a lot in the UK. You're like, wow, over here, that thing's super expensive. And what's interesting is that it's been proven true that for a lot of, especially the vintage collection, that vintage collection in the UK seems to go for quite a bit more for you, at least for US cards. And maybe it's just because you're getting US cards that are already in the UK versus having to buy from over here and ship it over. And I know a lot of sellers sometimes don't want to ship overseas, which is unfortunate. But this was a VCO1 Dengar US card. And I'm assuming that this little sticker is on the back of the case. Yeah, you can kind of see it's kind of on the star case. But, you know, this is just a standard VCO1. It's not like this is some rare variant or anything like that. But it did sell for 160 pounds, which equates to $203 US. That's more than double what they go for over here. So it's just crazy what the difference in price can be for some of these. The other one I wanted to point out from eBay UK was this one. Now, this one I can kind of understand. All right, this one did sell for 140 pounds, which is 178 US dollars based on the conversion as of the making of this video. But this is a Magnard on the Canadian card back, and it does not have the error, so it's got the corrected sticker there or offer of Boba Fett versus Boba Fett, which a lot of those early Canadian offer cards had the error on there where it says Boba Fett instead of Boba. But this one was a nice Canadian card for the Magnard, and that's not one you see very often. To be honest with you, I don't know if I've ever seen, or at least if I remember, a Canadian VC18 punched or unpunched. I just don't think that I've seen one before. I don't know why. That's just one particular character that you don't see pop up very much on the Canadian card back. So that one did sell, and I could kind of understand that price of, you know, about 175 US bucks on that one. The Dengar, I don't understand that at all. I mean, it's crazy how much. I mean, here it's like 99 bucks, 100 bucks max for a VCO1 Dengar on the US card. Next up, we do have some other items that sold here in the US. First was a foil Anakin Skywalker, and a lot of these buy it nows were particularly expensive that I'm going to cover in this video, including some graded stuff at the end of the video. But this foil Anakin Skywalker did sell for $195, big number for a foil Anakin. And the foil General Grievous, that one sold in an auction for 100 bucks. That's about right, you know, if not even a little bit low. That was a pretty nice looking example. One little ding or scratch or something going on in the lower portion of the card, but pretty minimal, really. It's a pretty darn clean card. And 100 bucks, I consider that to be a pretty good deal there. Jango Fett, this was the only sale I had from our friend Power Droid, but it was a nice one. This was a beautiful unpunched Jango, and it did sell at $120. We've talked about Jango Fett VC34 a lot in other videos, where that one seems to have come down from the highs that we saw earlier this year, around 175-ish. You can probably find a clean one for $100 or less now, but I think Power Droid's built up such a reputation for having case-fresh examples that he does tend to get a little bit of a premium for most of his listings. And that's certainly the case on this one, where this one sold for about 20% more than where Jango Fett has been selling, if not even a little bit more than that. I mean, you can, if you're patient, you can probably find one for like $80 or so. But that one was a beauty, and $120 on that one. Giorgio Joe is another seller that I don't know personally or anything, but I have bought from this seller in the past. And he's had a lot of really nice vintage collection lots that have sold here recently. This one I thought was a good one. This one had the Vader, the Canadian Vader, punched with the Boba Fett error. And then he also, with that, included the Luke Indoor Capture Canadian that was unpunched and the multi-language name pill, as you can see there. So that beautiful unpunched card, Canadian Luke Indoor, corrected Boba Fett, and then this one had the error where it says Boba Fett. So very interesting sale there. That both of those together were $150. I sent that one out to my Patreon supporters. I don't know if one of y'all bought it or not, but I thought that was a really good deal for 2 foreign card variants. I mean, anytime I see a nice, clean Canadian card, I always recommend, if you're into the vintage collection, I recommend picking them up, because we talked about how they were produced 1 for about every 10 U.S. cards. They're just a lot less production numbers than U.S. examples, and they're just different enough with the multi-language name pills, with the back of the card, with the multi-language there. There's just a lot going on that I think are really appealing with the Canadian cards. And to me, if you can find good deals on Canadian examples like this, I'd say grab them if you're into the vintage collection, just collecting variants. This was another good deal from the same seller. These were all foils. We had Han Solo in his Echo Base outfit, the Sand Trooper, a Clone Trooper, Vader again with the U.S. card foil, and then Darth Sidious. So all of those foil chase cards were $200. That's a pretty good deal, if only for the Vader and the Sidious alone. That was a really pretty awesome deal there, I thought, for all 5 of those. Another lot that he had included Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, and we also, and you know, again, that one had, this is one that Obi-Wan Kenobi has talked about, where you got the indoor capture handcuffs on there, but it's labeled Luke Jedi Knight. That's kind of one I didn't even know existed as kind of a variant, but he pointed that out to me. And then we had the Admiral Akbar, the Return of the Jedi TIE Fighter palette with the prototype Fett offer, and a beautiful unpunched Cathaba skiff guard. Unfortunately, it was the brown bandana. For the U.S. cards, it seems like the red bandana is a lot less frequent. So if you find those, grab those. And then, of course, the original issue Wicked. But for all 5 of those together, there was $150. So keep an eye on that seller. He always is listing vintage collection. Really nice stuff. The last one he had were the 2 foil bounty hunters from the 2-pack. You had Forlom and Zuckuss, and you can reverse those name pills depending on what your pleasure is in terms of how you like to call them. But both of those together were $80, which I thought was a very good deal as well. So he has some really nice deals on some vintage collection lots here lately. Here's another Canadian card. This one kind of snuck by me. I didn't see it, or I would have sent this one out to my Patreons, but this was a nice unpunched Canadian Lumat. And just the regular U.S. card for Lumat is pretty pricey. And this is another one that you just don't see very often. And this one has the famous kind of weird factory issue where it's unpunched, but it has a little crease going through the hang tab there. And that's just something that happens on a lot of Canadian unpunched for some reason. I had a number of them that had that little defect. So don't be scared off by that or feel like the seller pushed them back in. A number of Canadian cards have that issue, so you can kind of see it more clearly on the back there. It must have just been some weird factory thing when they were producing them that caused that little crease there. But anyway, that one did sell for $135. I just thought that was worth pointing out, since I don't remember seeing a Canadian Lumat sell anytime here recently. This price shocked me on the upper end. I'm thinking more like $100, maybe $110 for a U.S. unpunched shock trooper. This one was unpunched and sold for $180. So that, again, there was a buy it now. You could always expect that the buy it now sales data points are going to be a little bit above market, but that price was so far above market that I was really surprised by it. So again, excuse my voice. I'm still struggling with this cold. Another Sand Trooper, the VC-112 Sand Trooper unpunched. That's another one that folks have really been on the hunt for. And I mean, I've seen them sell recently for as high as $180 unpunched. So this seller asked $136 for this one. Very good deal for a very clean looking VC-112 unpunched Sand Trooper. I thought that was a good deal. Another one we haven't talked about in a while. I was kind of curious to see where the sales price is on it, and that's the Luke Skywalker crate from The Last Jedi. This one was short packed apparently, and keep in mind that the seller noted that this one had some creasing on the card, and it still sold for $75. So if you have those, they're very in demand right now. You know, the $75, $85 was kind of the going rate for Luke Skywalker crate the last time I checked. And I pulled it up and I found this sale and I was like, wow, even for a creased card now for Luke Skywalker crate, somebody's willing to pay $75 on it. So just an interesting data point given that it was not a mint card at all. Next up, another Republic Gunship did sell. This was factory sealed. The Toys R Us Republic Gunship, one of the big grail vehicles from the vintage collection. That one did sell at $658 plus $63 shipping. So you're talking about $720 for a factory sealed Republic Gunship. Big number there, but that's the first actually factory sealed one we've seen in a little while where the box was in really good shape. We noted one that was opened, unused contents that sold. It might have even been already assembled, so it might not even be unused contents. And that one sold in an auction for about $425, and it included the box. But in terms of a clean factory sealed one, this is kind of the latest data point for the Republic Gunship at $658 plus $63 shipping. So big number there. And some graded items that did sell here recently. We had a Clone Commander Rex from the Bad Batch multi-pack. This one was an uncirculated 9.0. That one sold for $132.50 in an auction. And this seller had an uncirculated 9.25 Luke Jedi from 2020. So this is kind of the reissue version versus the one we looked at a little while ago where the handcuffs were still packed in there. But this one is the reissue VC-175. That one sold for $300. Crazy number there. I mean, it was a 9.25 uncirculated, very high grade, but I would wager that in an auction, this one would not even top $150 or half that price. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that just seems like a really big price, big overpay to me. Some other items that sold from Disruptor. Full disclosure, this seller is a friend of mine and channel supporter, but I did want to point out a few of his graded vintage collection that did sell very quickly. He listed a bunch of them and they sold lightning fast. An uncirculated 9.0 Stormtrooper. This is the 2024 version with the cool kind of card back image there on the back. That one sold for $170. Big number there. Darth Vader uncirculated 9.0 also sold for $170. And then R2-D2 an uncirculated 9.0 gold level from AFA. That one also sold for $170. So congrats on the sales. Big numbers there, but beautiful uncirculated 9.0s. And then finally, I just wanted to point this one out as kind of a joke. Somebody had this Princess Leia slave outfit custom, and it sold in an auction for $177.50. $177.50. Now, he didn't disclose it in the title. It just says unpunched star case. But if you look on the back by the proof of purchase, it says custom card back by Customs 302. So it's very clearly a custom, but I don't know if someone just got confused with the real Princess Leia slave outfit or not, but somebody or multiple people bid on this one. It's had 17 bids and it did close at $177.50. Now, in all fairness, somebody might have just wanted to add another kind of variation to their Princess Leia slave outfits. There's obviously the Power of the Force 2 version and the Vintage Collection version and all the different card back iterations. So maybe they just got a thing for Princess Leia in her slave outfit, and I don't blame you. She was awfully pretty in that scene. But a $177.50, big number on that one. And I did want to at least show that because I just thought it was kind of funny how it was designed to look like a Vintage Collection item. And I hope that they knew that they were buying a modern custom and not the actual Vintage Collection, since, this is not clearly the the correct figure for the blister and things like that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at recent sales for the Vintage Collection. Thank you, as always, for watching, and I'll be back soon.